Hi, I'm Kayleigh. I'm the K&C Taxidermy. I am the one that started this business. I never wanted to go to college. I was always an outdoorsy person. So I decided that I was going to use my scholarships that I gained in high school to go to taxidermy school. My uncle Dave, he did taxidermy, and I used to see him do it all the time. So that always inspired me, and then as well as being an outdoorsy person, I found interest in bringing back life the things that I harvested. So that is the reason I started this business. My mother was fortunately able to join this class with me, so bringing K&C Taxidermy. My favorite part of taxidermy is the touch-up work as far as like cosmetics, using the airbrush and sculpting and just making it look as real as possible. My favorite animal that I ever mounted was our longhorn. It was my favorite mount because it had a really pretty hide on it. The coloring of the hide and the horns and everything just really stood out. Our customer that brought it to us, I even told him that I wanted to keep it for myself, which he was okay with, actually. That's why it's been in our shop. It was scary taking in people's animals and not really yet having the confidence that if we could mount it or not. And I mean, you take it in, and once you have it, it's in your hands. So anything that happens to it after that, you're responsible for it.
Yeah, tanning. You're afraid, like, because we did have a couple. Fortunately, it was way down on the longer hair, like on the brisket part, and you went to pull it over, then it, like, some of the hair would slip out because we didn't quite leave it in tan long enough, or so, because we didn't understand, like what I had mentioned in some of the videos, like some of the longer hair you want to leave in longer in tan. So we had some mishaps. Fortunately, I learned how to fix those mishaps, but we did have some mishaps, and it's just something that kind of makes you really nervous because this is somebody else's. It's not your own animal you're working on, it's somebody else's. And I know we work really hard to make everybody happy with what they get back in return. And starting out, there was a lot of kinks we had to work out. So, and just part of the learning process.
Start off slow.
Yeah, don't try to take on too much too fast. Even work on your own animals first. A lot of my deer, the first ones that I did were my own deer. Just so you can, if I mess up my own deer, that's fine. I'm not as self-conscious working on my own animals.
Don't be afraid of trial and error.
No, because that's how you learn, and there's never going to be the perfect cape. I mean, you're dealing with elements of nature, so there's gonna be things that happen, whether in the skinning, the tanning, the fleshing, whatever, and all part of that process is learning how to deal with imperfections. And if a mistake does happen, how can I fix that? And that's what makes you a better taxidermy, I think. And I think in life in general, that's what makes it better, is you learn by your mistakes.
Or did you?
We did, but our prices were much lower. And there was a couple things, I think, like because we got measurements on forms. I got measurements on forms wrong, and so I mean, that's stuff you just kind of have to bite the bullet and and you know, it hits you in your pocketbook, but I'm not going to charge somebody else for my mistake. You know, you learn real fast to get things right and how to fix it so that you don't make those kind of mistakes that cost you money.
Probably somebody else's botched capework on a white-tailed deer.
As far as most time consuming, yeah. Probably the most challenging so far has been the probably between the black bear and a bison.
What made them difficult?
Just the size, number one, the size. Having to a bison especially. I mean, you have to think it's a 1,800-pound animal.
And since we do wet tanning, once those hides get
Yeah.
all soaked,
And when they're wet, it doesn't make it any lighter. And it's just trying to manhandle those things onto the forms. And I mean, we are just girls, so it takes both of us, especially with the longhorn. And you know that part of it is probably what makes it a little more difficult is trying to work smarter and not harder in the in the fact of just things. We're working with some big animals, and then of course the black bear with learning how to work around the fat and the greasiness, learning how to degrease it and make sure. I mean, a lot of people don't even do their own because it is so complicated. It's a lot of steps to it to get it to where you can even put it on the form.
yeah, probably kudu.
I think we've always, you know, looking at pictures and stuff like that, and even watching hunting shows and stuff. I myself, and I think we both agree we'd love to do a big bull kudu.
Why would you like to do a kudu?
Big
horns?
It's just stocky, especially when they're in rut.
They're huge.
They're huge.
They have like, you know, kind of like the oryx, or gazelle. They have the big, long horns, but their ears are huge, and they're like an orangish reddish on the inside, and then I think they even have like gray and like stripes, and they're gray. Just the different color. They're just a beautiful, very striking animal to me, and they just have many features that are just a pretty animal. Very exotic looking. If you like exotic, it's a very exotic animal.
Usually a month.
For smaller animals,
We
a month.
do all our own tanning, and we do all the work here. Nothing's ever sent off, so our turnaround is usually a month. And small things.
Well, during deer season, when we're getting like pretty much a deer or two in every day, we're looking at, it's usually a 2-month turnaround for our whitetail deer, because I mean that includes tanning time, and then once we get it on the form, drying time. Those are the two longest periods, because usually we leave it, especially if they start getting their winter hair, their winter coat. You start getting more into November, December. They start getting their longer hair, and you're looking at, you want to leave that in tan for at least 2 weeks. And then once we get it on the form, it needs to dry for a good 2 weeks before we can do the finishing, the Magisculpt, and then the airbrushing. So at least from start to finish, you can pretty much count on at least 2 months for a normal size, like whitetail, a normal size animal. Yes, I have. I've received one prank call. Somebody, I think, had been drinking a little too much, and they wanted to know if they could get their cat taxidermy, but I guess I was so nice in answering, he couldn't keep up the charade. So he started laughing and admitted that he'd been drinking too much, and that I was so nice that he couldn't keep on with the prank, and admitted that he was drinking and prank calling me. And then I did receive a voicemail the other day saying that somebody had just lost their hamster and wanted to know if we could taxidermy their hamster. So there has been a couple, and other than family members' jokes, of course, about taxiderming
And
them.
then there was that lady when we had just started. It was like a few months we had started the business, and she thought taxidermy meant like the people that build dolls and paint them and stuff.
That mosquito's
And
so
it-
big, we're gonna taxidermize it. Did you see the size of that
It
thing?
flew that way.
Golly.
Someone thought you did dolls.
Yeah, so it was like her childhood doll, and it was like 30 years old. And she brought it to us, and I was like, well, I can try to do what I can. And I ended up just taking all the paint off the face, and I actually airbrushed it, and it turned out pretty good, and glossed the eyes again. She was happy with it, but that was probably the strangest request that we actually
We did do that.
did
She
do.
she did do that. She did fix a lady's old childhood doll for her. Creepy, yes, but hey, we're always willing to try to help if we can. Yes.
Yeah, my second job to this is I work at Lake Chattooga Animal Hospital, so I'm constantly, as you've probably seen in recent videos, we're swarmed by little creatures that I bring home. So,
Yes. And I, of course, have a farm, so I have chickens and ducks and geese and potbelly pigs and goats and dogs and cats and everything living together. So we have a little bit of everything, and not to mention tropical birds and tropical fish and all that. So yeah, we've got animals, real life animals. We do love animals, and of course animals have been my interest pretty much my whole life. Drawing and painting, they've always been my subject. That's always been my interest. So but it helps now with the anatomy and stuff like that, because I've been drawing animals my whole life. So it helps a lot with recreating them now in life-size fashion.
we've been open for 2 years now, and it seems like every year we get busier and busier, so hopefully.
It's a small town, and it's just the two of us, but already we're taking in and doing exotics from a neighboring that people get from a neighboring state, from a lodge, a hunting lodge, where they have exotics and whatnot. So I mean, we have plenty of work during deer season and off of deer season, but it's always it does work has been picking up, and it's continuing to grow steadily, and people seem to be happy with our work, so I don't see why it wouldn't continue to do so.
I mean, it's a trade that you really could never forget, so
It is kind of like riding a bike. You just only learn really to get better. Once you learn the basics.
once you learn the basics, you can do about anything.
It's just building on those basics and just getting better and learning from your mistakes. And then kind of coming up with your own way of doing things. So, and it's a lot of my stuff. I'm sure, even posting these videos, we'll get lots of comments of, well, you're not doing that right or whatever, but that's okay. I don't care what you think. I'm doing it how I want to do it. I come up with my own way of doing it, and it works for me. So that's how I'm going to do it. I'm all about making a shortcut. Thank you for watching us here at K&C Taxidermy. Remember to like and subscribe us here on YouTube, and join us next time for our latest creation. And we'll see you then.